Okay, I am on the phone doing an interview with Jerry Parker. Jerry Parker is, I've known him, sending him referrals for substance abuse, alcohol evaluations for more than a decade at this point. But Mr. Parker, you are also qualified um, in family cases. Am I correct about that?
Yes, I have been. I was and still am, truthfully. I had several offices around town. I did domestic violence groups, I did anger groups, and we also did alcohol drug assessments and groups for that.
So right now, with Indiana has been basically the governor has said, hey, if you can stay at home, they've closed restaurants, bars, gyms. They're really stressing only essential work. But the bottom line, people are going to be home more with their families, spouses, kids. There's going to be spending a lot more time than perhaps they normally would. People are working from home, trying to juggle teaching their kids with this e-learning all the schools have implemented. But I just see a lot of tensions, just even in the Facebook posts, and some of them are funny, some of them are like, hey, this is going crazy already. I just wanted to reach out to you. What are some ways that families who are spending a lot of time together can help decrease tension, decrease anxiety, and just basically, maximize the chance of just getting along? So give me some tips that you've gotten from your long career.
Okay. Well, I think first people have to recognize there is a problem or there may be a problem because people are going to be into each other's routine and space when they come home and are more or less have to be shut down in their domicile in their house. So first, again, they have to recognize they're a problem, and I'm hoping that they don't just contain that and just let it smolder and then outburst with that later. They can recognize some anger tips in the beginning, like increased heart rate, faces flushed, muscles tense up. And at that time, they need to walk away and always use intellect over emotion and calm down and ask themselves if this is really worth it. Now, for a couple, I think what they can do when they start feeling this tension, this stress, they can sit down and ask each other. One asks, one listens without talking. What can I do to improve this situation for the both of us? And then the partner will agree or disagree to that. And the other person will then take their time asking, what can I do to help the situation that we're in right now? There's various ways to reduce stress. Sometimes, you have to just alter the situation at hand. Maybe you have to be in separate rooms for a while. Instead of bumping into each other all the time and just building up that tension. People can take the deep breaths in through their nose, hold it for 4 or 5 seconds, release it slowly through their mouth, and do that 4 or 5 times in a row. The more oxygen you get into your system, the more relaxed you're going to become, the more carbon dioxide you escape from that system or let go is going to let you be more relaxed. You can walk away again and start self-talking. Is this really worth it? Why don't we build on the positives in our relationship instead of building on these minute little things that go on that are in the negative? People have a tendency to build on the negative, not the positive. I did relationship counseling for a number of years. And one of the things that I started out with was what seems to be the problem. And I quit doing that after 10 or so years by asking people, let's look at the positives in your relationship. I want to talk about those first, and we're going to look at this other issue. Various ways people, again, can release their tension besides your breathing. You can break your body into segments, like tightening your forehead, holding it 2, 3, 4 seconds, releasing it, doing that to your cheeks, your jaws, your neck, your shoulder, breaking into segments, tighten the muscles as tight as possible, and not to the point of getting yourself cramps. And then releasing that and go to the next area of your body, like from your bicep down to your forearm, to your wrist, to your hands, to your fingers. And that, takes about a minute and a half because I have timed that. And it's a great relaxer. But again, talking to each other about the situation, as long as you aren't talking emotionally, but you're talking intellectually, how can we resolve any issues that we have right now? What can I do? What can you do in my eyes? Or what, waving that magic wand, what will help reduce this tension and stress at this time?
No, I love it. I mean, just you're listing things that I've done in the past. I didn't recognize that was helping reduce stress. The segmenting body, obviously separating from the room, but even the deep breathing, and then hearing that, I'm like, oh yeah, those are some techniques that I'm using. I'm not saying I have a stressful family situation all the time, but that's awesome. And this is gold, Mr. Parker. Thank you so much. Anything else you can suggest or the user can take away?
Well, like I had mentioned a second ago, you really, when you catch yourself, not just the physical aspects that I talked about, like the increased heart rate, the flushing of the face, the tensing of the muscles, you have some thoughts that are behaviors that should be recognized as your anger building up, maybe throwing something, slamming the door. Your thoughts or your verbalization to your partner of making some snide comments. Maybe if you weren't in the same room with me, we could get together. So just paying attention. Another item that I think is very important, and my wife and I have used this. When an anger shows up, a lot of times we have done that for our whole lives. We have acted out in that respect. So somehow that got us what we want at one period of our time. So what my wife and I had done is come up with a non-offensive word. Our word, as crazy as it sounds, was spinach. And when one person was doing something that aggravated the other person, as it was talked about before, the other person would immediately say spinach or whatever non-offensive word, and it means stop. We're doing the same thing we were doing before, and it's really detrimental to our relationship, and it just doesn't make any sense. So using a non-offensive word to tell the partner, and you have to agree on that in advance, that'll be accepted, and then we can talk about things.
Is that so? I love this idea of this code word. So when you and your spouse, if she would say spinach to you, is that just kind of like you're okay? I have to back up. Yeah, explain that a little bit more. I love that idea, though.
Well, for example, maybe you come home every day, you're tired, and you start griping about work the whole day, griping about your boss, griping about anything. And it's just a negative approach. As soon as you walk in the door, you have to agree in advance. And maybe your partner, when they hear that, when you walk in the door and that negativity sprouts up, they can use the word spinach or whatever non-offensive word they want to come up with, and that would tell the partner who's already agreed in advance that they will stop doing what they're doing to change their behaviors. And those behaviors have been going on for 15, 20 to 30, 50 years. So there is one way to interrupt it, stop it, and rethink the situation, and also reverbalize.
No, I love that. I'm gonna incorporate that into my life. I think that's fantastic. I'm gonna do that with my spouse. I'm gonna do that with my employees. I'm gonna do that with everybody. I'm gonna have this code word.
Great.
Mr. Parker, thank you so much. You know, I really think that right now this is so valuable with so many people spending so much time at home. There's just a lot of change, and you know, routines are being changed. People have more hats to wear. You know, employee, teacher, spouse, and it's all at once. So I think this information that you provided us, I think this is gold. And thank you so much for taking time. It means a lot to me, and it means a lot to people listening.
Thank you very much for having me, Mark. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, sir.